In right field, hitting fifth. Tim Tuffle playing first base, batting in the number 6 position. Rick Cerrone, the catcher, batting in the 7th slot. Hitting 8th is Kevin Elster at shortstop, and Frank Viola on the mound for the Mets.
And in the field for the Expos, best defense in the National League. Here in the outfield, the new acquisition, Ivan Calderon. They acquired him for Tim Raines. In center field today, Marquise Grissom, one of the outstanding rookies from last year's team. Over in right field, making his first start, Nikco Riesgo. And around the infield, Gold Glover Tim Wallach will play third. Spike Owen at short. Outstanding rookie from last year, Delino DeShields, is the second baseman. Another Gold Glover at first, Andres Galarraga. Gilberto Reyes, what a gun he's got behind the plate. And on the mound, left-hander Chris Nabholz, 24 years old. Mentioned he had some control problems in his first start against the Mets. Made the big jump last year from Double-A. Has an outstanding curveball.
He won his first 6 major league decisions last year, including a one-hitter against the Mets last September. But as you pointed out, he struggled against the Mets, giving up 4 runs in the first inning earlier at Shea Stadium before settling down. Jerry Davis is the home plate umpire today. Tom Hallian will be working at first base, and the crew chief, John McSherry, who lost 77 pounds, and he deserves more than a pat on the back for that, umpiring at second, and Bob Davidson will be over at third base.
Hardly has any back to pat anymore.
That's right. So Vince Coleman will lead off. The first 3 hitters in the Met lineup are switch hitters. Coleman off to a good start, hitting .237. Has driven in 4 runs and has gotten on base. First pitch from the left-hander, Nabholz is in for a strike. The Mets had a lot of problems against left-handers last year, but with Hubie Brooks in the lineup, not today, of course, they've already done better.
A little different look on offense, that speed instead of power.
Popped up, second baseman Delino DeShields out in short right field, makes the catch, and Coleman's retired, 1 away. They've changed a lot of Olympic Stadium. The dimensions have not changed. As you see, the area in the outfield is a 12-foot wall, but they have moved in by 40 feet closer to the backstop, and we'll talk more about that. It's had a lot of effect on pitchers and the area around first and third in foul territory. Second baseman Tom Herr. He has not hit thus far. 5 for 30. Takes the strike, 0-1. Herr is 35 years old, facing Nabholz. Mets have played kind of musical chairs with their infield, and for the most part, Tommy Herr has been the only man not playing out of position. He takes the ball 1-1.
You know, one of the changes I think they're going to have to make, you see the reflection behind home plate in that glass? Doc Gooden was saying if you don't concentrate on the hitter, you pick up like looking into a mirror. You see the back of the catcher, you see the hitter, and you're very, very much of a glare from that glass behind home plate.
2 balls and a strike. Let's take a look at Big Nabholz. Not a power pitcher, though.
A big left-hander, but you're right, not a hard thrower. He'll throw a sinking fastball and then the old 4-seam fastball that pitchers use just to try to get it in the strike zone. Outstanding curveball and a pretty good changeup.
6'5" out of Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Fastball is fouled out of play, and the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes to Tommy Herr, who's 35 years old. Played most of his career with the Cardinals, and you see that trade acquired from the Phillies, and that was in a deal that sent Nikco Riesgo, who was making his major league debut, the right fielder for the Expos.
Expos drafted Riesgo off the Phillies roster, unprotected.
Infield is back. Their outfield just about straight away for Tommy Herr. Lays off the pitch just outside, and a count now 3-2.
Tommy Herr is a rare switch hitter. You watch the discipline on holding up on this pitch. Most switch hitters, I think you'll find, hit much higher from the left side. They're better left-hand hitters. Herr really is as productive from the right side as he is left.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Chris Nabholz misses outside, and Herr is aboard. Well, drawing walks is nothing new for the New York Mets. They have walked 62 times. And for a good part of this early season, had more walks than base hits, which is unheard of.
Yeah, and a lot of it is due to the wildness of the Montreal staff. Buck Rogers said they came out of spring training a little rusty, had a few rainouts, and the control of the Expos as a staff has not been good early in the year. That's why the Mets have so many walks.
Here is Gregg Jefferies, who has been a bit of a surprise to the Mets because he is hitting well under 200. They expected that he would hit. Fielding may be another question, but so far he hasn't done that. And a fly ball hit deep to left center field. Moving over is Ivan Calderon. He makes the catch for the second out. And Tommy Herr goes back to first.
Going back to that Tommy Herr comment about switch hitters, Dick, the reason hitters are better left-hand hitters, you see so many more right-handers and you see a lot of breaking balls. Usually left-handers are low ball hitters and they're better breaking ball hitters. As a result, if you're a switcher, you'll probably be better from the left side.
Herr is 35 years old, but he has been successful on 3 of 4 steal attempts thus far. And Kevin McReynolds, who was sidelined after the opening game with a sore right kneecap, now back in action. Only 2 hits and 13 trips thus far. Trying to get his timing as he takes ball 1 low.
Yeah, the key guys for Nabholz, if you're on the mound, you're Chris Nabholz today. Kevin McReynolds and Mark Carrion. They're the 2 right-hand hitters that can do some damage.
Carrion is waiting to hit if McReynolds can keep it going here in the first. Fastball and the throw to first base. Got to watch out for Gilberto Reyes' arm.
Coleman finally stole on him last night, but anytime you see a catcher flip the ball like that from his knees, that tells you something about his arm strength.
They play McReynolds to pull. Pops it up, foul territory. Reyes gives chase, and he makes the catch for out number 3, even with the shortened area behind the plate. Well, the Mets lead 1, so it's the Mets nothing, and the Expos coming to bat.
Field behind Frank Viola for the Mets in left field will be Kevin McReynolds. In center, Vince Coleman. A change in right. Mark Carrion will get the start with a left-hander pitching around the infield. Gregg Jefferies at third. Kevin Elster fills in for the injured Howard Johnson. Tom Herr at second. And over at first, right-hand hitting Tim Tuffle in place of Dave Magadan. Rick Cerrone will do the catching. And Frank Viola, 20-game winner. An outstanding changeup. When you talk Frank Viola, you don't talk power pitching. You talk that outstanding changeup, and he can throw it for strikes at any time. And
didn't he tell you yesterday the slider is the pitch that he used to throw? He's now throwing
a little new look for right-hand hitters.
Delino DeShields leading off. He is a good-looking young second baseman. Bunt in front of the plate. It's a good one. Out of the chute is Rick Cerrone. The throw to first in time. And a fine play by Cerrone against the speedster Delino DeShields.
Yeah, the dirt in front of home plate is a little soft, and this ball, watch it just kind of deaden right there, like hitting in a sand trap. Cerrone bounces out, and here, Tim Tuffle makes a nice pick. Rick Cerrone knows he's going to have very little time here. He's got to pick and throw because of DeShields' speed. And the quick release, he let it go a little too early, but Tuffle made a nice pick.
Here is Marquise Grissom, the center fielder, with 1 out. Looks at a curveball inside. Grissom, along with DeShields, really the only 2 speedsters on the Expos who are big threats. Calderon can run as well. He's on deck. Wound up, took something off the pitch. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike to Marquise Grissom. Getting a chance to play. The left-handed hitting outfielders have not produced so far for the Expos. Walker and Dave Martinez have not hit.
Now this guy just doesn't miss a start, and this motion is one of the reasons why. So smooth and fluid right over the top. No extra movement.
Pitch is in for a strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Viola, 20-12 last year, and of course the 18th player in Major League history to win 20 in both leagues. It's been a while since it's been done, and there's the fastball. Strike 3, and Grissom goes down.
I mentioned no extra movement. Sometimes hitters, they have hitches and they have mechanical problems. Pitchers do too. One of the reasons Frank Viola has such outstanding control. Watch the eyes. Not a lot of head bobbing, not a lot of extra body motion. And he's got great command of that change, and then the fastball just right past Grissom.
2 down quickly, and Ivan Calderon came over from the White Sox in the deal that sent Tim Raines to Chicago. Curveball is in there for a strike. Calderon off to a good start. He's hitting .317. He has 13 hits to lead the Expos. And they're looking for run production in a variety of ways from Ivan.
And they'll get it from him. Until Ricky Henderson took off and became the MVP last year, Ivan Calderon was the best all-around left fielder in the American League.
Already has 10 runs batted in. 2 balls and 1 strike.
See that long stride he takes, but yet he keeps the upper body back. That's why he's a good solid hitter. He'll stride way out front, but the hands stay back.
Foul ball, out of play. In that deal, everyone talks about Calderon and Raines, but the Expos also got an outstanding relief pitcher in Barry Jones, who was a setup man for Thigpen last year in Chicago, and now will be used as a short man as well here.
Good point. Everybody wondered how the White Sox would do without Jones. They're doing very well, but Jones a big part of this Montreal bullpen with that hard slider to set up Tim Burke.
Reaches out in a one-hopper right back to Viola, and a 1-2-3 inning for Frank Viola. And after one here at Olympic Stadium, and Viola breathing easy after that toss to first. No score. Ball club now with Lansford out of there, and Ricky Henderson also day-to-day with his injury. Mark Carrion takes a breaking ball, 1-0. Carrion off to a good start, getting a chance to play perhaps a lot more than he thought when the season started.
An area that the Mets want to improve, right-handed production. He'll get that chance.
He hit his 6th pinch hit home run against the Pirates Tuesday, tied him with Ed Kranepool for the New York record. Chris Nabholz. Fly ball to left field. Back is Calderon, but he has a play. And one away. Here in inning number 2, Carrion is disposed of.
You're talking about Dave Henderson, Dick. He went from a great postseason hero to what they call an underrated player, and now people are finally realizing that he is one of the stars in the American League. Ironically, Calderon and Henderson both started their careers with the Seattle Mariners.
And a lot of people forget people that started with the Seattle Ball Club because they don't get any kind of the ink that a lot of the other clubs do. Here's Tim Tuffle with 1 out, playing first base today in the Met lineup. Takes low for a ball. Popped up. Chasing it is Reyes. And the first baseman, Galarraga, puts that big mitt out there and makes the catch for the 2nd out. So 2 of the outs have been foul pops by the Mets.
Here's another one of the changes they will have to make in the dugouts. You saw Galarraga just catch that pop by the Montreal dugout, but there's no railing in front of either one. And the league has demanded that they put some kind of a protective railing up there, so when infielders have to go over there to make catches, they'll have some guardrail.
They did a lot of things to help the fans in this ballpark. They put some temporary bleachers out there, brought everything closer to the fans, but now they got to start thinking about the players and what changes they have to make for them. Rick Cerrone, a new Yankee who's been around, hits a high pop fly. Delino DeShields goes from his second base position into short center field to make the catch in a 1-2-3 inning for Chris Nabholz.
Bad spring first week. You know, baseball is a marathon, not a sprint.
We'll hear from Mr. Strawberry before it's all over. One thing we know, he's very happy to be back in his hometown.
Yeah, it'll take a little while, the pressures of playing in your hometown. You know, baseball is our pastime, and that's what it means. Pass the time for about 6 months. Check those stats in September.
Tim Wallach, the batter, hitting cleanup. Off to a slow start, and we should say as usual. That's been the case for the Expo outstanding third baseman. It's a line drive to center field. Vince Coleman makes the catch for the out. Coleman had been primarily a left fielder with the Cardinals, and this is kind of a new spot for him.
Yeah, used to playing left field, a lot more ground to cover. Well, look at Tim Wallach's swing. Always one of the better low ball hitters. Why? Because most low ball hitters carry that bat in a vertical position, and there you see Coleman making a catch. A little more ground, room to roam as a center fielder.
Here's Andres Galarraga with 1 out. Takes ball 1 from Frank Viola, getting off to a slow start. Chicago and Detroit underway at Comiskey Park. What a debut for the White Sox. 16-0 Tigers the other day. Ground ball foul into the Met dugout and out.
Loose bunch of guys. Frank Viola was talking about that last night. There's Hubie Brooks with a smile on his face. He said, we got to get this team to carry that loose attitude out onto the field with them and not leave it in the clubhouse and the dugout.
Changeup misses, and the count is 2-1. Of course, Viola has a problem with the contract. You know, Doc Gooden got all the money, and Viola, who's a 20-game winner and won the Cy Young a couple of years ago for the Twins, not getting the same kind of treatment.
I think what players learn to do, there's a lot of media hype about contracts, but I think once players get out to the clubhouse and get their mind on baseball, contracts stay in the background. You learn to block those things out. You have to.
And it does with him, that's for sure. Ground ball left side, charged by Kevin Elster. Guns it over to Tim Teufel. 2 down.
You mentioned that loose attitude. You know, the Mets have the reputation. When you look at their lineup, they're a group of hitters. You don't think of Gold Gloves or fielders. You think of run production. And really, fielding is relaxation, concentration, relaxed hands, relaxed feet. They're a little tight in the field oftentimes because of that reputation.
Bud Harrelson beginning his first full year as skipper of the Mets, and a curveball to the youngster Nikco Riesgo. Harrelson took over for Davey Johnson last year. 71-59, pretty good record. Riesgo hits a ground ball hard to third. Jefferies over to Teufel, and another 1-2-3 inning for Frank Viola. So we've completed 2 innings here at Olympic Stadium in Montreal, and there's no score.
Doing some wrist curls. Weight, strength, and flexibility training, very much a part of Major League Baseball today.
We've had only 1 base runner so far, Tommy Herr, with a 1-out walk in the first inning as the Mets come up in the 3rd inning. Kevin Elster playing shortstop today, hitting 8th, and Frank Viola, and then the top of the order. Question for Elster has always been his hitting. They know that he's about as skilled a shortstop as the Mets have on their team, hitting .357 off to a good start, including a home run. And his problem is to get in the lineup, play.
Not easy to do when you look for offense, because we mentioned the Mets are a group of hitters. And Elster, with his defensive skills, doesn't get as much chance.
In the air to center field, Marquise Grissom moves maybe a step, and there's one away. A fast-moving game here. Montreal last night, the Expos won it 2-1. Dennis Martinez with a strong effort, and Tim Burke got the save as Doc Gooden ended up on the losing side for the first time this year.
Great matchup. Boy, this has got to be encouraging for Buck Rogers and Chris Nabholz coming off that bad start, throwing all strikes.
And there's one nasty slider to Frank Viola. And of course, the Expos did not play the last 5 days before the season started. They had 4 rainouts and an off day. They were kind of rusty when they finally got underway.
Yeah, you don't use that for an excuse, but the baseball season really is broken into about 3 parts. The first part is physical. It's mechanics and timing. And you go through a period of adjustments. And then when we're sitting here talking baseball in September, it'll be the mental toughness and the will, really, of teams and players. You got to learn to play with nagging injuries and play with a little pain. And I think most players and managers will say those are the 3 sections of a baseball season.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Frank Viola. Hit slowly to shortstop, Spike Owen. 2 down.
Now, both these guys pitching like most successful pitchers. Frank's smiling. He just got some wood on the ball. You know, most successful pitchers, when they are doing well, it's like no hitter exists. They're just playing catch with the catcher. And you'd like to accomplish that as a pitcher. It's a little tougher to do than it is to say.
Well, Nabholz is a man that the Expos are counting on. Dennis Martinez and Oil Can Boyd. Boyd has not gotten off to a solid start yet, but if they get some work from Nabholz, and they've got a couple other pitchers who are coming off disabled list soon, their pitching could equal last year's as Vince Coleman takes a call strike. Coleman popped up to the second baseman DeShields his first time. Cy Signed as a free agent from the Cardinals. Chopped foul at the plate. Speaking of the can, and he was a model of decorum last year, according to Larry Bernard.
Just 10-6, but in his 31 starts, the Expos won 19 of those.
He's had that circulation problem that's plagued him for the past several years. Off the fist, good fastball by Nabholz, fouled off by Coleman. No balls and 2 strikes. Who the Mets finally have a leadoff hitter with speed. They haven't had one for many, many years, and it's a different look, and Frank Cashin thinks that the Mets can win in a variety of ways this time.
Yeah, much was made about Vince Coleman's low batting average at Shea Stadium. Look who he was hitting against all those years. You know, that's pretty good pitching he was going up against.
Inside, you know, so much has been made too about Coleman and how he would perform on natural grass. Well, if you take away what he has hit at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, he has hit higher on grass than in other carpets around the National League.
Yeah, we got numbers for everything, and some of those things are overdone and overstated.
Like maybe that one.
Yeah, you got that kind of speed on a grass infield. It's going to make you a better bunter. You know that some of those little top ground balls are going to get hung up in the grass that on turf would be outs.
Ball and 2 strikes to Vince Coleman. 2 down, nobody on base. Mets hitting against the Expos in the top of the 3rd. And a slow breaking ball popped to the first baseman Galarraga, right on the line, makes the catch in foul territory for the 3rd out. And we'll return to Olympic Stadium after this word from your local station.
Pitchers do that between starts.
Whitehurst is the Mets' number 5 pitcher. Sid Fernandez hit in the arm in spring training with a batted ball, looking to come back soon. Fouled out of play. Gilberto Reyes leading off for the Expos here, as Viola has retired the first 6 batters. Outstanding defensive catcher with a gun, and we've already seen a glimpse of that. Originally signed with the Dodgers, and a converted first baseman, third baseman.
See, when Frank Viola's changing right now, those inside pitches to right-hand hitters, he's got such a reputation for that great changeup. Hitters tend to lean out over the plate and look for it, right-hander, so he pounds that fastball or slider inside.
They're playing Reyes to pull. Swings and misses on a pitch well out of the strike zone. Ball and 2 strikes. There's the way the infield lines up, and the outfield slightly around to the left on Reyes, who's off to a brilliant start. 7 hits in 17 trips. Here's the 1-2 pitch. 2-2. Expos stayed in contention nearly all the way last season. They were within 4.5 games of the lead as late as September the 20th, with a club that many people thought would finish last. Buck Rogers with a terrific job leading this club. This is his 7th year in Montreal.
More wins than any manager. His first experience was with a veteran club in Milwaukee. He had a few problems there. He's had a chance to come in here with a lot of young players and do it his way.
Rounded to the left side, gloved nicely by Gregg Jefferies, and Reyes is retired. 1 down here in the Expo 3rd inning.
I mentioned the Mets really are known as a group of hitters, and they have trouble in the field. You see Jefferies make that pick off artificial turf, but I really think it does not take extraordinary ability to be a good fielder. It takes concentration, anticipation. What am I going to do when the ball's hit to me? And play with relaxed feet and relaxed hands.
Spike Owen, the only switch hitter in the Expo lineup today, takes a curve inside.
Talking before the game with Doc Edwards when Graig Nettles was in Minnesota to start his career. He made a couple of errors in spring training. Immediately they felt that he was not a good defensive player. They moved him to the outfield. You know, that was a reason, because a young player in spring training trying to make the club, he was a little bit on the 10th side. All of a sudden he got a chance to play every day and relax, and you know what a great defensive third baseman he was.
Another in a long line of great defensive third basemen that the Yankees have boasted. Pitch in for the strike, 2-1 to Spike Owen. You remember him from the Boston Red Sox in the World Series, that '86 World Series. Hit 300 in that one. Line drive to left field, and that'll drop in front of Kevin McReynolds, and the first base hit of the game, and Spike Owen has it. A one-out single here in the bottom of the third inning.
Boy, managers love those guys, especially in the National League, without the designated hitter. Guys that can get a knock in that number 8 spot. This pitch about belt high. And Owens lines it to left. Why? Because now you can use your pitcher to bunt the man over. You don't waste him. And I would assume that's what Buck Rogers is going to do right here. Runs pretty hard to come by off Frank Viola.
Nabholz is 0 for 4 as a hitter this year. With one out, the infield shortens up looking for the bunt. And it's going to be a fair ball for a while. Then it goes foul. And Gregg Jefferies got a little nervous there as that ball hugged the line going down the line.
Yeah, he can smile about it now, but not that far out of spring training. And one thing infielders know, as soon as that ball gets foul, you knock it farther into foul territory. Yeah, I think he was waiting for a call right there from catcher Rick Saronis to maybe field it and try to take a shot at Owen, but he made the right choice.
Expo coaches Tommy Harper is over at first base, and you saw Tom Runnels flashing the signs from the dugout. There he is over at third. Strike one the count. Jefferies ready to charge from third. Tuffle from first, and the bunt is fouled off, and the count is 0-2 now. Expos looking to get a runner over in scoring position for the top of their order. Delino DeShields waiting on deck. And the Mets still thinking that Nabholz with 2 strikes may attempt to sacrifice again, and he does, and it's bunted foul off, and that'll go as a strikeout.
Yeah, and I think Buck Rogers or pitching coach Larry Bernard will say, hey, let's go down to the cage and practice some bunting. One thing you have to do to lay down a successful bunt is get the bat out in front of the plate. Watch the angle of the bat. The barrel is still angled back toward foul territory. And there's only one place that ball can go when it hits the bat. There's Larry Bernard, Buck Rogers. You want the barrel of the bat angled so when it hits it, it's going to go into fair territory.
That makes sense. So with 2 down, here's Delino DeShields, who tried to bunt his way on in the first inning and was thrown out. Cerrone to Tim Tuffle.
Yeah, here is a high percentage steal situation for the Expos. They just soon have DeShields leading off, so chances are they may give Owen a chance to steal second base here with 2 out.
He was hitting, fouls it back on the fastball, strike 1. Owen has not attempted a stolen base thus far this season. DeShields getting the sign from Tom Runnels. Expos have won 3 in a row, and the Mets have gone the other way. They have dropped 3 straight. Going over to first base, Tommy Harper, and talking about Viola yesterday, said that what makes Frank Viola so tough to run on any time is the fact that he's got such that quick release to the plate. Inside, there goes Owen, the throw to second base, and they've got him. Cerrone to shortstop Kevin Elster, and that'll do it. No runs, a hit, none left, and we've completed 3 innings, no score.
Catch the ball to the center field side, so what does he do? He tries the old fadeaway slide to the opposite side of the bag, but the ball is there, plenty of time.
And Rick Cerrone is now 4 for 4 in throwing out enemy base stealers, and what an addition he has been. He's also contributed at the bat with a pinch home run against the Phillies.
In his first AB.
Tommy Herr leading off in the 4th inning. He walked, the only Met base runner thus far. Chris Nabholz, his 3rd start of the season. His 1 loss was to the Mets. Mets won that game 7-1. Viola was the Met pitcher that beat him, and the count now is 1 ball and 1 strike to Herr, followed by Gregg Jefferies and Kevin McReynolds.
Tommy Herr is one hitter who can disrupt your rhythm as a pitcher. Very deliberate. See him step in and out of the box. Every hitter, every pitcher has a little pre-pitch routine. You'll see Herr, he knocks the spikes off, adjusts the helmet. He'll look at the bat a couple times.
Been pretty consistent both sides of the plate. He's a .274 lifetime hitter, .275 right-handed, .273 left-handed. Can't get any closer than that. Short hopped at third by Tim Wallach, and Herr is retired, and there's one away in the 4th inning. Renovated Olympic Stadium in Montreal, and they've cut the number of seats down from 60,000 to 43,700. Home of the Expos. Frank Viola and Chris Nabholz locked in a pitcher's duel. The Mets have scored only 1 run in the last 23 innings. They have gone cold at the plate after getting off to a 6-2 start. Running up to bunt, and Gregg Jefferies fouls it off for a strike.
Saw the 8 flyouts by Nabholz. That's another indication of the rustiness of pitchers. You come out of spring training, and Nabholz is really a sinker baller. He'd like to get a lot of ground ball outs, but the fact that he's still throwing maybe a little bit harder, not quite the movement that he'll get when he gets a few more innings in this year.
Fastball, and the count is 1 ball and 1 strike. Of course, you see different kind of pitching when you get it when the season starts. Dave Martinez was so effective against fastball pitchers in spring training, hit 5 home runs. He has struggled. He's on the bench right now because he's seeing a lot more breaking balls.
Should never even keep statistics for spring training. You ought to just play the games, put the score in if you want to, and then move on to the next day.
Hit in the air to center field. Marquise Grissom, with a lot of room to roam, makes the catch, and there are 2 gone in the 4th inning.
Mentioned that high number of flyouts against Nabholz. You know, when you throw a little harder, the ball doesn't move quite as much. And then pitchers have a term, well, I'm too strong. Well, usually sinker ballers, the more innings they get in, a little bit of that fatigue factor sets in. They throw in better rhythm. They get more movement. They get more ground balls.
Kevin McReynolds with 2 down here in the 4th inning. Takes a breaking ball for a strike. Did you feel very strong when the season started many times?
Never felt strong.
No.
Still don't.
You look strong. Right back to the box. A line drive will do it. So McReynolds hit it hard, but right at Nabholz, who retires the Mets in order.
Right off the end of the bat.
Talk about good fielding pitchers. My partner was as good as there was. 11 in a row set down by Nabholz. On 0 for 1. No score, bottom of the 4th inning, and a foul ball.
Well, that's kind of in vogue these days. Major League Baseball, high top shoes. See a lot of players going to them.
Top of the order, DeShields, followed by Grissom and Calderon, and he takes a fastball. DeShields fills 2 spots for the Expos. He replaces Tim Raines as a leadoff hitter and gives him a consistent second baseman. That position had been in a state of flux, and comes in as a highly renowned athlete. He came very close to playing basketball. In fact, he signed a letter of intent at Villanova with Rolly Massimino, and the only freshman scholarship offered in that year, 1987.
Wow. Won the slam dunk contest in the offseason amongst athletes from several sports.
Hit sharply to second base, but right at Tommy Herr, and DeShields is retired for the 2nd time. 1 out in the 4th.
You know, we were taking a look at those high top shoes. Nowadays, players have shoe contracts at various companies, but one of the differences from shoes years ago, they're much softer. They don't provide as much support. And that's why I think some of the players are going to the high tops. Those new ones are so soft. See a lot of guys turning their ankles. Not like the old-fashioned Riddell shoes.
Shoes have really changed in every sport now. Now you see the football players wearing low cuts, rubber cleats. Marquise Grissom, who has struggled against Frank Viola in the past, takes a fastball for a strike. 1-1, was 1 for 13 against Viola last year. He struck out his first time up. Swing, and totally fooled by the breaking ball.
See, Frank Viola is not just an in and out pitcher, but he's a to and fro, forward and backward. Look how far out in front Grissom is with that high leg kick. And then Viola makes good use of that change of pace. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The count now to Marquise Grissom.
who was the youngest player in the league to play at least 100 games last year. In fact, the Expos started 3 rookies last year in the opening day lineup. They've got a bunch of first-year players.
It's been a great organization. Baseball America has named the Expos the best organization, and they deserve it. With all the players that they've lost, Carter and Dawson and Raines and Brooks, they keep on replenishing the roster.
Swing and a miss, strike 3, and Grissom goes down for the second time. 3 strikeouts now for Viola.
Dave Dombrowski was named Executive of the Year, the Executive Vice President of Baseball Operations here in Montreal.
Now, this is a tough place to play, and Tim Raines said you just get no attention at all when you play in Montreal, and he's delighted to be in Chicago. Here's Ivan Calderon. Bounce back to the mound, hits a ground ball to the shortstop Kevin Elster, and another 1-2-3 inning. So Viola has faced 3 men in each inning, has allowed only 1 hit, and we now go to the 5th inning of a scoreless game. They are to the third base area.
They've made a lot of nice changes to accommodate the fans, but sometimes they don't consult baseball people. You can't have the bullpen mounds that close to the playing field, close to third base. That's a hazard.
Mark Carrion leading off for the Mets, fouls off the first pitch for a strike, and you were saying yesterday that if you were a left-handed reliever and on the left rubber, and you threw a sidearm pitch, it would bounce off the
Yeah, you'd hit the stands, and they are going to move them. They've got to move them way down the left field line as far as they can.
Carrion will be followed by Tuffle and Cerrone, and a high pop fly hit into short center field. Charging is Marquise Grissom, and he makes the catch. So Nabholz continues to induce the Mets hitters to hit the ball in the air. At the conclusion of today's game, Jim Kaat and I will select the Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game, and Chevrolet will donate $1,000 in the player's behalf to the Special Olympics.
Two-way tie right now. These left-handers are rolling.
Tim Tuffle still looking for his first hit of the year. Fouled out his first time up. Ball in for a strike. Chris Nabholz made his major league debut in Philadelphia. He's from Pottsville, Pennsylvania, and his mother chartered a bus for herself and 48 friends for the drive to Veterans Stadium to see her son hurl. That's called support. Off the fist, ground ball up the middle. Spike Owen turns around, makes the play, and a fine play by Owen to get Tuffle.
What makes for a good infielder? Here's a guy that set the National League record for errorless games. It's not just reflexes, but footwork. Watch the quick footwork. That's what makes that play. He really just tossed it over there at medium speed, but it was knocking it down. So used to seeing the great Ozzie Smith make that same play. Probably no athletes on the field that have more agility and quickness than shortstops.
2 out to Rick Cerrone. Looks at a changeup for a ball, and of course, what they say about Owen is that he doesn't have that much range. Well, there was a guy who had range, even though Tuffle does not have much speed.
Goes back to anticipation and concentration.
There's a line drive up the middle and a base hit, and the first base hit of the game for the New York Mets. And Rick Cerrone continues his torrid early season hitting, and what a help this veteran has been in New York.
Yeah, the day after he got released by the Yankees, he signed with the Mets. He wanted to play in New York, and he's been a good addition. You see that ball down in the strike zone. Rick always handled the low ball a little bit better than the high ball. You mentioned Delino DeShields going to play for Villanova in the Big East. Cerrone was drafted out of Seton Hall.
Played in 2 College World Series. CBS will present the College World Series final and an early round game as well this June. Kevin Elster takes ball 1. 2 down. Cerrone the runner at first base. Still scoreless here in Montreal. The Mets and the Expos playing here in the 5th inning. Two and 0. Elster coming off shoulder surgery. Question mark at the start of the season, but he's all right now. Chopper hit to the left side, and Spike Owen steps on the bag for the out. A good out for the Expos, because now Frank Viola will lead off in the 6th inning. Still 0-0 here in Montreal.
If a ball hits one of those speakers in fair territory, it's a home run.
Now, that's not the way it is at the Kingdome in Seattle.
Can you imagine a tie game in the 9th inning and somebody hits a fly ball off one of those speakers, and that's the game? They have to change those also.
Tim Wallach hit the ball sharply his first time out. Takes a fastball on the corner for a strike. 1-1. He hit a home run off of Frank Viola last week at Shea Stadium on Sunday to account for the only Montreal run in their 7-1 defeat. And Viola keeping the ball away from Wallach, and the count is 2-1.
I said to Tim, he was talking about how tough it is to hit off Viola. I said, why don't you block out one pitch? Can you do? I knew what his answer would be. Just block out the changeup and look for a fastball. See, and he said you can't do that with Viola because he has such good command of both of them. If you just sit on one pitch, like the hitters use that term they're going to look for, or sit on a pitch, he'll throw the other one by you.
He had 21 home runs last year, and of course the Expos just pencil in 20 from people like Wallach and Galarraga. Hope that Calderon adds 20. Swing and a miss, and Viola keeping the ball away from Tim gets his 4th strikeout of the game.
Well, he's not productive so far today. You see Viola's motion, Wallach isn't. But he is one player that has outlasted Dawson and Raines and Carter. Hubie Brooks is left. Doesn't catch up with a high fastball. Tim said he likes it here. His family likes it here, and he's extended his contract a couple years.
1 out to Andres Galarraga. Talk about strikeouts. He's the first player to lead the National League in striking out 3 years in a row since Mike Schmidt. He grounded a short his first time up. 1 out in the 5th inning. In for the strike, 1-1. Or 0-1 is the count. Or 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes. We'll get it right yet. Just read the numbers. Curveball.
See, he's thrown Galarraga 3 pitches. Changeup strike, fastball strike, curveball ball. Now Galarraga has no idea what Viola's coming with this time.
Broken bat, line drive, left field, base hit, and the bat ends up where normally the shortstop Kevin Elster plays. In any event, it's the 2nd hit of the game for the Expos, and with 1 out, Galarraga is aboard. Sawed him off there.
Yeah, that's a reward for being strong. That pitch is right in on the hands. Good pitch from Viola's standpoint, but Galarraga is strong enough that even though the bat splinters in half, he gets it out over Elster's head in the left field.
Well, let's see what the young power hitter Nikco Riesgo does here, making his first big league start. Rounded to 3rd, his first trip. Riesgo had been on the disabled list since the end of camp and had been hitting .222 in just a few games for the Class A West Palm Beach Farm Club of the Expos. Line drive, sharply hit into center field for a base hit. Galarraga round second. He'll go to 3rd easily as the throw comes back to the infield. And Riesgo showing no fear of the mighty Frank Viola.
First major league hit against the organization that signed him, and a pretty good pitch down and away. Well, Riesgo, the book on him is he comes from that school of outfielding that outfielders will say there's only one way to play out there: swing the bat. He's got great power and good minor league numbers. The rest of his skills below average: running, throwing.
So there's Galarraga on at 3rd. You saw Riesgo at first base. Riesgo hasn't had a chance to handle a fly ball yet, and here's Gilberto Reyes, who grounded out his first time up. Has driven in 1 run this year. So the best scoring opportunity by either side here in the bottom of the 5th inning in a scoreless game. Infield is shortened up. There goes Riesgo, and pop-up is caught and getting doubled off at first base. Kevin Elster handled the pop-up. Galarraga was on 3rd. Riesgo was running, and he just got confused. And that ends the threat. a decoy manner.
Yeah, infielders will holler second base or whatever base they want the ball thrown to, and if the runner hears that, you know, he thinks, oh, the ball's going to second, and Riesgo just got trapped too far off, couldn't get back in time.
Well, the Mets escaped big problems there as the Expos had first and third and one out. They leave a runner at third as Frank Viola leads off in the sixth inning for the Mets. And he takes ball one from Chris Nabholz. Line fly ball down the left field line over the head of Calderon. And it will go all the way to the wall. Calderon was playing shallow in left field, and moving into second with a double is Frank Viola. Reached out and hit a fly ball, and Calderon playing shallow way over his head.
Not only playing shallow, but it looks like he had a little trouble picking that ball up. And he ran a little bit of a post pattern on that one. Watch him. He circles that ball. It hits on the other side of his glove. And, of course, that's always one of the problems playing in a dome stadium. Outfielders will tell you they don't get quite the jump on the ball. It takes a little longer to judge it and pick it up. And anytime you're defensing a pitcher like Frank Viola, you play very shallow and around to the opposite field. Expos got burned.
So now the Expos have to figure out what they'll do with Vince Coleman, who's in a depth bunter coming up. They want to move the runner over to third base. Infield shortening up at first and third. And the pitch is taken. Reyes throws to second, and Viola, who had a very big lead, barely gets back.
Got to respect Reyes' arm, and if you're Frank Viola, you want to get a big enough jump that if Coleman lays the bunt down, you can get to third. This is another reason why in spring training pitchers should, anyway, spend a lot of time just running the bases, practicing situations like this, because you have to anticipate a little bit that the ball is going to be bunted.
Coleman hitless in 2 trips. Middle infielders at second and short bunched together, ready to charge from first and third, and Nabholz steps off the rubber. Viola, by the way, with that 2-base hit, collects his first major league extra base hit. Of course, did not get a chance to bat with the Minnesota Twins. Well, the Mets with a go-ahead run at second base. No score. The Mets have 2 hits and the Expos have 3. Nobody out. Coleman will be followed by Tommy Herr. Squares around, takes the pitch inside for ball 2, 2-0.
Watch, Tim Wallach will come in and actually take a very unusual position. He is facing Frank Viola slightly and also home plate. And he's going to try to play a little guessing game with Viola and Coleman as to whether he's going to charge or whether he's going to retreat and let Nabholz field the bunt.
Swinging away was Coleman, and he fouls it at the plate. 2 balls and a strike. And of course, if he does charge and Viola runs, there's no way they'll make the play at third because Spike Owen is shading towards second base.
Yeah, teams have 3 or 4 variations. You see Frank looking at Mike Cubbage try to find out whether Coleman is going to be swinging away or bunting. Teams have 3 or 4 variables in the field to defense a bunt. Third baseman can charge, hold the bag. Owen can go over to third base.
Pitch, and it's bunted foul down the third base line. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Vince Coleman.
Here we have one of the simplest things in baseball in a great pitcher's duel today. Nabholz couldn't lay down a bunt. Now you have an experienced player like Coleman, and with his speed you would expect he would be a good bunter, and he's not able to lay the bunt down.
You would think that if he were bunting for a base hit, there'd be no question he'd get it down in fair territory, right? But he's looking now.
Yeah.
But he's looking now to move the runner along. Mets trying to break a 3-game losing streak. Took 3 out of 4 at Shea Stadium last weekend for Montreal. Chopped, fair ball. Third baseman Wallach over to Galarraga in time. That was a perfect play for the Expos. It wasn't hit hard. It was hit right at Wallach. And Viola had no chance.
Perfect play for the Expos on the curveball. Tim Wallach is pretty basic. Catch it, look Viola back to second. And an easy throw. You know, Rod Carew is going in the Hall of Fame this year. I doubt there was a better bunter, and especially with 2 strikes, And if I were a player of Coleman's speed, or Gary Pettis, or Alex Cole, who did that this spring, Alex Cole of the Cleveland Indians, I'd go out to Rod Carew's hitting school for a few weeks and learn how to bunt.
Tommy Herr, who was walked and bounced out. One away, Viola with the lead. There's a curveball in for a strike as the infield moves back a bit, although the second baseman DeShields wants to keep Viola as close as possible at second. No score. We're in the 6th inning. Dangerous hitter Gregg Jefferies on deck. Gotten off to a slow start, but sooner or later, you know, Jefferies is going to hit. Breaking ball, and it's past Wallach down the third base line. Viola's going to be waved in by Covich. Calderon's throw will come into second base. It's not in time, and Tommy Herr drives in Viola with the first run of the game, and the Mets lead it 1-0.
Well, Tommy Herr makes up for Vince Coleman's inability to sacrifice with this shot. This is an in-between hop. Watch Wallach's glove. He's trying to anticipate whether the ball is going to stay down, and it takes that extra little hop. The dirt's a little muddy, even though we're at an indoor field. The dirt's a little muddy around those sliding pits, and the ball is taking some irregular hops.
Tommy Herr with his 3rd run batted in of the season, and the Mets lead 1-0. When in the last of the 5th inning, it looked like the Expos were going to cash in. They had runners at first and third and one out. It's a 3 apiece, and here is Gregg Jefferies, 0 for 2. Has hit the ball in the air twice to the outfield, takes the ball outside. And we're going to start to get bullpen activity down the right field line for the Expos.
Anytime you have left-hand pitchers like Nabholz and Viola, who are not power pitchers, your third baseman and shortstop get a lot of the action. Those right-handers pull the ball down there.
Barry Jones starts to throw, and it's popped up, fouled, and out of play straight back. So Barry Jones is warming up in the bullpen. He picked up a save the other night in the Expos win over the Cardinals. Was the setup man for Bobby Thigpen, who had the best year of any reliever, I guess, other than Dennis Eckersley. Had more saves than Eck, but Eck, you got to put at the top of the shelf there.
When you begin to look into what Eckersley has accomplished in the last few years, there's nobody close to him.
1 ball and 1 strike, 1 out. On at second is Herr, and a fly ball pop up. Third baseman Tim Wallach should have a play, and he makes it. 4 out, number 2.
Now Viola getting some congratulations from his buddy and neighbor Johnny Franco. We had to run the bases. Well, he talked about the loose attitude that this team really has, and the key is to carry that out onto the playing field and play with that same looseness. Viola experienced that in 1987 with the Minnesota Twins when they won the World Championship.
Franco and Viola, a couple of former St. John's pitchers. Kevin McReynolds takes down low ball 1. Tommy Herr is on at second base. He has knocked in the run to give the Mets a 1-0 lead here in the top half of the 6th inning. 2 down. McReynolds with a comebacker to Nabholz. Makes the play in time. So a pair of doubles gives the Mets a 1-0 lead as we go to the bottom of inning number 6. Found himself crouched down, and I don't know whether he was overcome with dizziness or what, lightheadedness, but Kevin Elster not feeling that well, and Bud Harrelson coming out of the dugout, and right now that's the chief Met concern.
Trainers come out, and he was fielding ground balls, and Elster just went down to both knees. As you mentioned, like he was going to have a fainting spell. Now he appears to have recovered. John McSherry going to give him a chance to at least toss a couple. He just joined us. The reason Elster's in the lineup today, Howard Johnson jammed his thumb in the first inning last night. Bobbled the ground ball, went to pick it up and jammed his thumb on the turf, so he's missing, and they're already missing Hubie Brooks.
There's Hojo, who hit a tremendous tape measure home run at Three Rivers Stadium this week, and it was one of those high boomers. In fact, Kevin Elster said, he says, you know, that had a lot of hang time. He says, we're used to Darryl Strawberry's shots getting out of here in a hurry, but not hang time, and that's what Hojo's home run did in Pittsburgh.
I think about the longest one since the Bull. Greg Lazinski had hit one up there when Lazinski was with the Phillies in the late 70s.
Well, the Expos trailing 1-0, batting here in the 6th inning, and Spike Owen, who singled in his only time up. Sharp line drive to left field. Takes a breaking ball down low, 1-0. Frank Viola has allowed 3 hits, has struck out 4, has not walked anybody. All the hits have been singles. 2 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, the key at bat for the Expos, because Buck Rogers would like to leave Nabholz in the game and give him an opportunity to sacrifice. So Owen's getting on base here, very crucial this stage of the game.
Fastball with good velocity from Viola is in there for a strike, 2-1. The Expos have had the lead in 9 of their 11 games so far this year, as Owen way behind that heater by Viola, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dwight Gooden was the losing pitcher last night for the Mets. He had experienced some tenderness in his shoulder that was some concern to the Mets, but he was all right last night despite the loss. Ground ball. Elster getting a chance here, throws out Owen for the first out here in the 6th inning. We're at Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Mets and Expos both trailing the Pirates last year in the National League East. Dick Stockton along with Jim Kaat in our first telecast on CBS Sports this season. And the Mets lead in a pitcher's duel between Viola and Nabholz, a pair of left-handers, 1-0 here in the 6th inning. Nabholz, the pitcher, gets a base hit, chopped over the head of third baseman Gregg Jefferies. Down the line, McReynolds makes the play, so both pitchers have had a hand in, of course, the great pitching, but offensively as well.
Now, this is like watching one of those high school games where your pitcher is your best athlete, and he also does the hitting. And Nabholz answers Viola's double with a base hit of his own.
He had been 0 for 26 in the major leagues before that base hit.
Now, here's a switch right here. We're indoors, right? And the pitchers are wearing a jacket. Well, I say that a little sarcastically. It does get cool. It does get cool when they turn the air conditioners on. But wearing a jacket for a pitcher on the bases is probably one of the most overrated things. Where you want it is when you're sitting in the dugout, but when you're out there in the bases, man, you want the least amount of weight as possible. You might have to score on a double.
And you're going to tell me you didn't wear a jacket?
Even in Minnesota. You know, when you first come up, they make you wear one. Then you find out, what do I want to run with this heavy jacket on for?
Here's Delino DeShields, 0 for 2, has hit the ball on the ground, tried to bunt his way on, actually, his first time up. 1 out. They're not holding Nabholz on, and the first pitch is outside ball 1 as Tim Tuffle moves behind the runner prior to the pitch. Expos now with 4 base hits to the Mets 3. You'll watch Tuffle as he moves back, and there's the bunt. It's fouled off to the left. Jim, you'll tell us about the angle of the bat again on that.
This has not been a day for a bunting clinic if any young players are watching. And guys like DeShields and Coleman, of course, are 2 players that could really, I mean, it's going to put another 20, 25 points on their batting average if they learn how to bunt.
Tom Ruddles, third base coach. DeShields, who was the runner-up in the Rookie of the Year balloting to Dave Justice of the Braves last season in the National League. Ground ball hit to right field and a base hit. Nabholz will have to hold at second as Carrion gets the ball back. So back-to-back singles for the Expos have runners at first and second and 1 out, and that's the second straight inning that the Expos have had back-to-back base hits.
Well, Delino DeShields says, no, I couldn't get the bunt down, but I can hit. This ball's hit sharply. I mean, just a few strides out of the way of Tommy Herr and into right field. The one peculiarity, left-hand pitchers, and it's so overrated, lefties against lefties. Lefties actually had a better average last year against Frank Viola than right-hand hitters. But yet a lot of teams will stack righties in the lineup against him.
There's Nabholz, who is the potential tying run. Marquise Grissom, who has struck out twice against Viola today, the batter. And a bounding ball foul down the left field line, strike 1.
You know what, being left-hand hitter, what that does against Viola is it takes that changeup away, because the changeup is kind of moving into you, so it's an easier pitch for the lefty to hit than the righty.
You're great today. You're giving bunting lessons on the angle of the bat. You're going up
Wow.
against the book as far as lefties versus lefties.
I say I had a good bunting teacher, the late George Case, and we'll talk about his approach.
Here's the 1-strike pitch. Swing and a miss. Grissom, he wound up for that swing, and Viola blew it by him.
It's the old take a little off, put a little on. He gets Grissom out in front, and then watch this fastball. Marquise can't catch up with it, inside corner.
On deck hitter for the Expos is Ivan Calderon. No balls and 2 strikes. Runners at first and second. Here in the 6th inning, 1-0 the Mets, and striking out for the 3rd time today is Marquise Grissom, and that is the 5th strikeout of the game for Viola.
Yeah, Buck Rogers sat down Larry Walker and Dave Martinez, left-hand hitters, because they were struggling. Riesgo and Grissom getting a chance to play.
Viola with 70 pitches total so far, or just about doubling. Strikes the balls.
And if you're Montreal, you see Gooden last night, Viola today, and you think you get a breather tomorrow. You see David Cone.
Here's Ivan Calderon, 0 for 2, and an opportunity here to win the hearts of more Expos fans, because they got the run producer and there are men on base, 2 down. A big chance for the newcomer on the Montreal team. 2 on, 2 out. Slow curve fouled off.
Watch the stride of Ivan Calderon. It's a long stride, but the upper body stays back and the hands stay back. But when you're hitting off a changeup or a curveball from Frank Viola, it's still very difficult to tell yourself, wait, 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 because you're still conscious of that better than average fastball.
Calderon led the White Sox in RBIs last year with 74. Has been very effective with runners in scoring position. Time is called, and now Viola and Cerrone want to get things straightened out, and Cerrone said, don't, just go back, we're okay.
Rick, being a veteran catcher and sensing Frank in such a good rhythm, doesn't want to break that up right now.
Fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike to Calderon. 1-0, the Mets lead. They scored in the top of the 6th inning as Tommy Herr doubled home Frank Viola, who got his first major league extra base hit to lead off the 6th for the Mets, helping his own cause. Ground ball slowly hit to the right side. Charging is Tommy Herr. He'll make the play to get Calderon to retire the side. So the Expos get 2 hits and leave 2. And after 6 innings of play, the Mets and Frank Viola lead Montreal 1-0. The throw from Vince Coleman from the outfield and warming up. We had not seen that. We didn't know what the problem was, but I guess
that'll get you dizzy. Coming from 100 feet away.
Yeah, Kansas City leading the Yankees 4-0. Scoreless in the other games. Mark Carrion leading off in the 7th inning against Chris Nabholz. 0 for 2, is flied out twice. Slow hit ground ball off the fist, charged by Spike Owen. The throw gets him. Spike Owen's playing a nifty shortstop this afternoon for the Expos. No surprise, they've got just a great defensive infield.
As Tim Wallach said yesterday, the best defensive infield he's ever been a part of, and I think most would say the best in the National League. That in on the hands, Owens charges, and off balance but very accurate with the throw. Former teammate of Roger Clemens at the University of Texas.
Well, Roger should keep appealing, because he doesn't want to miss his start the way he's gotten off this year. Tim Teufel, the batter, he is 0 for 2, was robbed by Owen, who went behind the bag, turned around, spun around, and threw out Teufel in this 5th inning. You know that Clemens controversy is still very much alive. Broken bat ground ball off the glove of Owen, recovers, throws, not in time. This time Teufel beats it out. That should go as an infield hit.
Probably will, but if you ask Owens, he's going to say, I should have had that ball. He got the tough part out of the way. He got over there and got a little leather on it right there. It just squeezes underneath, and then Just that little bit of a bobble right there is enough to allow Tuffle to beat it out. You mentioned he doesn't have great range, but he's got quick reflexes and ability to cheat a step or two on the hitters to make up for it.
Tuffle, a former Minnesota Twin, is aboard with 1 out in a 1-0 game. The Mets lead, and here's Rick Cerrone, who has popped up and singled to center field. And fouls it off out of play. In 5 games, he has hit safely in every game for the Mets. This is the 7th club he's been with in his big league career, and in fact has been with the Yankees on 3 different occasions in his career.
Loves New York. See that long look at Mike Covich. Buddy Harrelson at some time during this count would probably hit and run to stay out of the double play.
Fastball. You know, talking about the Roger Clemens deal, they now brought in a lip reader to take a look at what maybe he was really saying to Terry Cooney in that 4th game.
American League hitters going to get their own attorney, and they want to get him on the suspended list. Be interesting to see what that lip reader comes up with.
There goes the runner. The pitch taken inside for a ball. The throw to second, and Tuffle is out. But you're right. You want to stay out of the double play, and you've got to make that play. So he's thrown out.
And sometimes you just get lucky. Look at this pitch. I mean, Nabholz didn't want it there, and Cerrone's got absolutely no chance to get the bat on the ball. Even if the ball is outside a little bit, you'd throw the barrel of the bat at the ball, but you just have to jump out of the way in self-defense, and Reyes with that great arm gets Tuffle easily.
DeShields applying the tag, and there are 2 away. Bases are clear. And the count is 2 balls and a strike to Cerrone. Chop to shortstop, and Owen should make the routine play, and the inning is over. No runs, a hit, and none left. After 6.5 innings, Nabholz pitching well but trailing to Viola and the Mets 1-0. Coverage follows our broadcast. Tim Wallach leading off in the 7th inning. Takes a fastball for a strike. Defensive change. Darryl Boston moves to right field, replacing Mark Carrion. The Expos have Barry Jones, who was up earlier, warming up, as Wallach fouls it back 0-2.
We talked about Ivan Calderon and his long stride. Tim Wallach, and since we're talking about the golf tournament, he kind of glides into the ball like a golfer. His entire body slides into the ball. That's why Frank Viola now pounded that fastball inside. He's a little vulnerable to that fastball in on the belt buckle.
Wallach is 0 for 2 thus far, and he serves the ball into center field for a base hit. He just got his bat on the ball. And with all that work trying to solve Viola, that's all he needed to do.
Take all the batting practice and go through all. Now watch the body kind of slide forward. Yeah, that's what he worked out in spring training, throwing the bat at that pitch low and away in the dirt.
So the Expos here in the 7th inning have the tying run aboard with nobody out, and slugger Andre Scalaraga, who singled his last time up, 1 for 2. Galarraga was stranded at 3rd. Expos had a real good threat, 1st and 3rd and 1 out in the 5th inning, and Riesgo was doubled off on a pop-up thanks to Tommy Herr's great decoy, and the pitch is inside, ball 1. Galarraga, 20 or more home runs in the last 3 years, 85 or more runs batted in the last 4. His averages dropped, strikeouts are up, but he's their power man. And he jams it. Viola with an effective pitch in on the fist, fouls it back.
You saw Tom Runnels flashing all of those signs, none of which was the bunt sign. Not with Galarraga. And of course, you're moving down near the bottom of the order. Riesgo, Reyes, Spike Owen, those aren't your run producers. Just keep it in practice for those signs.
Mets lead 1-0. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning. Popped up, and a play for Tim Tuffle in foul territory. Makes the catch, and Galarraga is retired, and there's 1 away. Alejandro Pena starts to warm up in the Mets bullpen.
Well, he had a great second half, and Buddy Harrelson really looking for him to set things up for John Franco, who usually comes on to just pitch the 9th inning.
Nikco Riesgo, who singled sharply to center field his last time up, 1 for 3.
Now here's where it's somewhat of an advantage to be Nikco Riesgo. You haven't seen a lot of Frank Viola. You heard of him. See the ball, hit the ball. Worked last time.
Viola may know him a little better, though. Swing and a miss, 0-1.
One thing Buck Rogers said, he will not be intimidated. He's a very confident young man. Way out in front of this changeup. Shouldn't feel bad about there. There's a lot of veteran hitters that look that way on Viola's changeup.
Wallach with the lead at first with 1 out. Pitch in the dirt. Nice stop by Cerrone. Count is 1-1. Wallach leading off with a base hit, 1 away, and Riesgo, who was the MVP of the Florida State League. That's Class A, one of the top power hitters at Port St. Lucie. 94 runs batted in for that Met Farm Club and 35 doubles.
One of the things the Expos have done the last couple of years is give 3-year contracts to their key administration people and key scouts, and one of them spotted this guy and said he might be the right-hand power source we need.
Viola trying to keep Wallach close. Well, Riesgo then went to the Phillies. Then picked from the Philadelphia system. Getting a big opportunity here with the left-handed hitting outfielders not delivering for Buck Rogers thus far. Fastball fouled back on the screen, and it stays embedded in the screen.
Hitters will say you get 1 pitch per at-bat to hit. Stuck right there in the netting behind the home plate here at Olympic Stadium. You get 1 pitch per at-bat, and that was Riesgo's right there. That's a good fastball. Now in this count situation, Viola has a lot of options. That great change, slow curve. He's been throwing the slider to right-hand hitters a little more this year.
Crowd enjoying the afternoon's festivities here. They're happy about their Montreal Canadiens, even the Bruins series last night. Pitches inside. Their baseball team has won 3 in a row. The hockey team is back in the Stanley Cup race. Expos at 5-6. The Mets at 6-5. 1-0 in favor of New York. Swing and a miss. And Nikco Riesgo goes down, and that is the 6th strikeout by Frank Viola. And there are 2 down.
You see his pitch count right there and the high percentage of strikes. If you rank the starters last year in the National League, and in my ranking system, yes, Drabek won the Cy Young Award. He deserved it. Ramon Martinez probably was a better overall pitcher in all categories. Viola ranked 3rd. And in the last 3 years, he's right up there with Clemens and Cone and Drabek. The top 4. Dave Stewart's 5th.
So here's Reyes, who is 0 for 2 this afternoon. 2 down. Wallach at first. Way ahead of that off-speed breaking ball. Strike 1.
Yeah, even though you know it's coming, that tells you something about hitting and having control of a changeup. Hitters know this pitch is coming, but you're still so eager to hit that ball that you can't stay back and wait for it.
Infield plays him to pull, and there's a high pop foul. Jefferies and Elster going over, and it's behind the Mets dugout.
Still working on the stadium. That's not the bullpen heating up. That's some welding out there in the structure behind center field.
Doesn't it remind me of the movie The Natural? When Robert Redford hit the home run, was that welding or was that fireworks?
Wonder Boy. There's a Wonder Boy right there today.
Loud 6 hits, struck out 6, has not walked anyone. Viola's control has been impeccable. And he's ahead of Reyes, 2 strikes with 2 out. Expos are going to have to make a decision on their catching core. Mike Fitzgerald, who has a broken hand, will be coming back soon, and they're going to send 1 man down. Now Reyes has no options left, but Nelson Santavina does. So it'll be interesting to see what Buck Rogers does, former catcher in his own right. No balls and 2 strikes. Wallach on at first. Wasted pitch outside, 1-2. Viola with a 5-hitter last Sunday and setting down the Expos 7-1. Looking for his second win of the year and his second complete game. Ground ball sharply hit through the hole in left field. And a base hit. Wallach will stop at second. So Reyes delivers a 2-out single. And runners at first and second. So in the last 3 innings, the Expos have had 2 hits in each of the last 3 and have been unable to score so far.
Viola couldn't do anything about the pitch to Wallach. He just threw his bat at it. But that one, he was not real happy with. Left that out in the middle of the hitting zone after he really had Reyes behind in the count.
So Spike Owen, the switch hitter, comes to the plate. And if you're looking at right-handed hitters on the bench for the Expos, they have Nelson Santavina, who's gotten off to a good start at the plate, and Junior Noboa. Those are the 2 right-handed hitters available to Buck Rogers. But here's Owen, 1 for 2 with a base hit. Ground ball hit sharply, and it's through Elster in the left field for a base hit. Wallach will come around and score the tying run. The throw comes into second, and out at second base is Spike Owen. But the Expos tie the game with an RBI single by Spike Owen as Wallach scores.
RBI single, but a base running mistake and a good heads-up throw to second base to end that inning. Owens really had no business going to second base. The lead run was at third.
And the throw went from Coleman to Tommy Herr for the putout. 3 hits and 1 run, and we have a tie ball game. Bottom of the 7th inning on an RBI single with 2 out by Spike Owen, thrown out trying to stretch it into a double. So Chris Nabholz now even with Frank Viola and Kevin Elster leading off in the 8th inning. Against the young left-hander, takes a fastball outside. Viola on deck for the Mets. Elster is 0 for 2. Two balls and no strikes. The Expos made 3 errors in their opening game of the season against the Pirates and did not make a miscue until last night. So they have lived up to their reputation with outstanding defensive play. Bluffing the bunt and taking a fastball for a strike. 2-1 to Elster.
Love to get on base any way he can, so Frank Viola can try to sacrifice something we've not seen any of yet today in 3 attempts. Nobody's been able to get the bunt down.
Three balls and a strike. The Mets struggled in 1- and 2-run games last year. In fact, they were last in the National League. 10 games under 500 in the close ones, and this year so far they're 3 and 4 in games decided by 1 or 2 runs. Foul ball off a fastball, and the count runs full to Elster.
Yeah, if you just look at all the raw numbers last year in terms of runs scored and their great starting pitching, you say, how did they not beat the Pirates? But it's just what you referred to. The Pirates beat them head-to-head, and the Mets lost too many of those close games where one little key play difference between winning and losing.
Here's the 3-2 pitch. Pop foul again. They've not had many full counts today.
Both pitchers ahead of the hitters, and both these teams pretty aggressive swingers. The Mets, yes, they lead the National League in walks, but that's because the Expo pitchers were unusually wild in that first series.
Infield and outfield playing straight away and back. Pitch outside, ball 4. And of course, Jim, you could run down and tell Nabholz the last thing you want to do is walk the leadoff man.
Toughest time to throw a strike is when you have to throw a strike. You tend to squeeze that ball a little tighter, and I'm sure thoughts going through his mind is, don't walk Elster. You know, get him out because then I got the pitcher hitting. And when you start saying things like that to yourself, you invariably end up walking him.
So Viola coming up, and he'll be looking to sacrifice, although he did line a double to left field over the head of Ivan Calderon. Out of a semi-line drive. Tim Wallach inching up at third base. Throw over to first, and Galarraga holding Elster on.
See that throw there just to keep Elster maybe a step closer, because with Wallach cheating in, if this ball is bunted sharply, he'll take a shot at second base.
Owen and DeShields playing close to the bag, and there's a good bunt fielded by Nabholz. His only play is to first to DeShields, and the sacrifice works. And Wallach, when the pitch was delivered, must have been 6 feet in front of the batter.
I'll tell you, that's good execution by Frank Viola. Somebody can get the bunt down, because Wallach had charged in so far. I thought Viola might even try the old Casey Stengel butcher boy trick, where you pull the bat back and just hammer. See, the barrel of the bat is out front, and it's level. It's not angled back. Look how close Tim Wallach is. And Frank Viola, just like he's been practicing it all spring, Nabholz had but one play.
So the Mets with go-ahead run is scoring position, and Vince Coleman, who was hitless this afternoon, 0 for 3. Fastball on the outside corner, strike one. Barry Jones has been warming up, and he would be ready if the Expos need him. He's just waiting and watching the Montreal bullpen down the right field line. Mets bullpen is quiet. They had Phenia up last inning. Fly ball to left field, and Calderon has a play. 2 down. Elster gets back to second base, 2 away to Tommy Herr. Mets come into this game last in hitting in the National League at 212. You mentioned that they lead in stolen bases, and of course a whole bundle full of walks. And here's Tommy Herr, who drove in the lone Met run. 1 for 2 with a walk, a double. Brought home by Viola. So Elster is on at second base. 2 out.
Very, very patient hitter. We mentioned that deliberate approach. He can really play with a pitcher's mind in terms of disrupting your rhythm. Yeah, that's what you have to do. You see Nabholz right now. He said, "You're going to play that game? I will too."
Was there ever a hitter that really annoyed you by doing those kinds of things?
Didn't annoy him, but ones that would. George Foster, for example, with the Cincinnati Reds, would take a lot of time. And all you do as a pitcher is you get back off the mound, and then when he gets in the box and gets ready, then you start your pre-pitch routine. But don't get all ready and then let that hitter freeze you. And that's what Nabholz is doing right now. The battle is who's going to control who.
Nabholz has thrown only 82 pitches in 7 2/3 innings, so he's been economical in that department. Infield is back straight away. Outfield also playing Tommy Herr straight away. Pitch is down low. 2 balls and no strikes to Tommy Herr. But the Mets are really loaded with infielders, aren't they?
Loaded with hitting infielders, yes. And Buck Rogers, even though he has Barry Jones warming up, knows that right now. They got a few left-handed bats left on that bench yet. Dave Magadan. Howard Johnson might be able to hit. We're not sure whether Buddy would use him with that jammed thumb.
Herr was trying to go to the opposite field with it and lines it into the crowd foul. 2-1. That was a good pitch for him to hit. Chris Nabholz, who broke in, came up last year, was 0-6 in Indianapolis at AAA, and then won his first 6 major league decisions, including a 1-hitter against the Mets. Nabholz taking his time now.
A little intensity in those eyes.
Outside. Young left-hander from Pottsville, Pennsylvania, not to be confused with Pottstown, Pennsylvania, where your hero came from.
Avi
right?
Shantz. The little lefty. This guy's a big lefty, 6'4". See more and more young players making that jump from Double-A. The White Sox have Alex Fernandez and Frank Thomas, and here's Chris Nabholz, who went right from Double-A baseball right to the big leagues.
Elster, who walked and was sacrificed, on at second base. 1-1 the score in the top of the 8th inning. Swing and a miss. Tommy Herr going after a bad pitch, and the count now is full. 3-2.
This is unusual in that you don't often see Tommy Herr swing through a pitch. That ball just a little bit away from him. He'll foul him off, but you seldom see him actually swing right through the ball. Looked like maybe he was looking for something that he could pull.
3 balls and 2 strikes to Tommy Herr, whose double knocked in the Met run in a 1-1 affair. Pitch just misses, and I'll tell you, Nabholz wanted that one.
Don't blame him.
He got squeezed a bit, maybe.
You know, umpires try to think along with the pitcher and catcher a little bit. They see that pitching pattern, and they see Nabholz going outside. And now he comes back on the inside. And look where Reyes catches that ball. Nabholz takes 1 step toward the dugout. He thinks he's got Tommy Herr.
Larry Bernarth, the Expos pitching coach, and a very good one. Former St. John's pitcher. We've got a lot of them today with Viola, Franco on the Mets, and Bernarth, who pitched there, coming out to give Nabholz some encouragement, and a good time for the pitching coach, I would have to say, after that last pitch.
That's exactly what it was, encouragement. Nabholz is in a position like a lot of young pitchers where you're learning on the job in the big leagues, and Bernarth knows that. He knows he's a little bit upset over that call, but now he wants to get his concentration right back on Jefferies. Buck Rogers, of course, going to leave Nabholz in there. They'd rather have Jefferies hitting right-handed than left.
So 2 down. Elster is on at second base. Tommy Herr, the runner, at first. Herr walking for the 2nd time today. Jefferies 6 for 40, hitting only 150. And hitless in this game. 2 on and 2 out in a 1-1 game, and a line drive down the left field line and a fair ball. Extra bases. Scoring will be Elster. Going to third is Tommy Herr, and he'll be sent home, and he'll score easily. And the Mets break the tie with 2 runs here in the 8th as Gregg Jefferies, mired in a slump, knocks home 2 with a double down the line. RBIs number 5 and 6 for Gregg Jefferies. And the Mets lead now 3-1.
A sigh of relief by Jefferies and some smiles by the rest of the Mets. Jefferies gets a breaking ball up in the strike zone. And that's usually where those high breaking balls late in the game end up. The third baseman can't reach him. And it's really not the hits that have done in Chris Nabholz. It's those base-on balls.
He walked the leadoff man. And then he walked Tommy Herr on a 3-2 pitch, and now they're going to walk Kevin McReynolds intentionally with first base open. Darryl Boston, who came in defensively for Mark Carrion, will come up and hit. So this will be the 3rd walk of the inning, and Buck Rogers, this is intentional, of course, gnashing his teeth a bit, thinking what might have been in a close duel with the Mets.
Well, he's showing a lot of patience early in the year because he said our guys are not as sharp as they're going to be later. But of course, the hot seat right here in Montreal, a lot of rumors swirling around about Buck Rogers' position, and the Expos are past that stage. You know, they've never been worse than 4th or better than 3rd the last 6 years. People want them to step it up a notch.
So Kevin McReynolds is on at first base. Gregg Jefferies at second. I'll tell you what, Buck Rogers has a great reputation as a manager. And he was out for a year and a half and went into the floor covering business between the Milwaukee and Montreal jobs, and knows how good he has it wherever he is, huh?
Doesn't everybody connected with this game?
Here's Darryl Boston, who's the best defensive outfielder the Mets have. In his first at-bat of the game, takes up high ball 1. Released by the White Sox early last year, had career highs in runs batted in and the number of starts. He started 89 games. Pops this one up To the center of the diamond, Spike Owen calls for it. He makes the catch for the third out, but not before damage is done by Gregg Jefferies. The two-run double breaks the tie, and we go to the bottom of the 8th inning here in Montreal with the Mets leading 3-1. Through because the Expos have a pinch hitter now. Gregg Jefferies giving the Mets a 3-1 lead with a timely double in the top of the 8th inning, and Junior Nabholz, the Expos' top pinch hitter last year in his first full year in the major leagues, batting for Chris Nabholz. It's a fly ball to right field. Darryl Boston is back, and there's one away. The Mets, with their closer starting to work in the bullpen, left-hander John Franco.
Yeah, as if Frank Viola's changeup wasn't tough enough for these hitters. Now they come in with a guy like that who has just as good a one, but a little different motion, a few quirks in that motion. Very difficult to pick up his changeup also.
Viola has given up 8 hits. Delino DeShields bluffs a bunt and takes ball 1 outside. DeShields is 1 for 3, singled his last time up. 3-1 the score. Line drive, center field, and that's going to drop for a base hit. So DeShields has 2 hits. The only Expo player with 2 base hits today.
I would think managers begin to look at the results of games against Frank Viola. They might do what teams used to do against Mike Cuellar. When Cuellar had so many great years for Baltimore, left-hand hitters would give him more trouble. Took away his screwball, and in this case, Viola just does not use the changeup as effectively against the lefties.
Well, Viola has given up 8 hits in the last 4 innings. They've escaped bigger problems, and here's Marquise Grissom. 1 on and 1 out in a 3-1 game, and he offers it the first pitch and pops it up. He had struck out 3 times. Center field, Kevin Elster runs out to make the catch for out number 2. 2 out, and Viola looking to hang in there and win his 2nd game of the year. Both root-going efforts if he can stay in there. Now facing Ivan Calderon. 3-1. Calderon becomes tying run at the plate. He's got some power. Hitless today in 3 trips. Has hit the ball on the ground all 3 times. Have had their problems on the bases today. Spike Owen throwing out, stealing. Riesgo was doubled off on an infield pop-up. Fly ball to right field. Darryl Boston should handle this, and that'll do it in the 8th inning. Owen was also thrown out trying to stretch a single, so Viola is in command. 3-1. Sox setup man making his 6th appearance of the year. Already has 1 save, as many as he had all of last year. And a Met pinch hitter, Dave Magadan, batting for Tim Tuffle. Takes ball 1. Magadan, 3rd in the National League in hitting last year, .328, behind Willie McGee and Eddie Murray. Fouls it off, 1-1.
We talked about Frank Viola's smooth motion. No secret why this guy is a .300 hitter. Very little wasted motion and very quiet hands. When a pitcher looks at a hitter and he sizes him up, he says, well, does he have a hitch? Does he have a lot of extra movement that I can destroy his timing? Watch Magadan's hands. They're just very, very quiet at the plate.
2 balls and a strike. Magadan hit almost 100 points higher on the road than at Shea Stadium last year.
Of course, what that transfers into, that quiet hands, is also a quiet head. You keep the head steady and level, see the ball better, hit the ball better.
Ball hit out to left center field. Calderon running over, making the catch. And Magadan is retired, 1 away here in the top of the 9th inning. Well, Dennis Eckersley at it again. So is Bobby Thigpen.
Boy, Big Lee Smith already with 5 saves, and Kurt Schilling doing a nice job for Houston. He was involved in the Glenn Davis trade. Davis going to Baltimore.
Rick Cerrone is 1 for 3 with a base hit. Check swing, slow roller. Wallach should make the play on Cerrone. And there are 2 away. Frank Viola leading in this game, and John Franco continuing to throw will be coming in apparently.
As is the way most managers use their closer these days, it's for just one inning. And even in games like this, that Viola probably could go out there for the ninth, but keep using guys like that. The more you use them, the sharper they stay.
Now Franco going into the dugout, getting set to come out for the ninth. Here's Kevin Elster, who has walked and scored a run. 0 for 2 officially. Makes ball one outside. Mets took a 1-0 lead in the 6th inning. Viola doubled, and Tommy Herr doubled him home with a shot down the left field line. The Expos tied it in the 7th with an RBI single by Spike Owen with 2 out. And then Gregg Jefferies, 2-run double in the 8th inning, past Tim Wallach down the left field line, has given the Mets their 3-1 lead. 2 balls and no strikes to Elster, with 2 out here in the top of the 9th.
Got away. Jerry Davis took that right in the mask, and he glares out at Barry Jones. Obviously it wasn't intentional, but Jones is a power pitcher with a power slider, and he usually keeps the ball down. Look at the catcher's target, and then Reyes can't get the glove up. All catchers use that hinged glove now, like if now he's smiling it off with that pocket that they snag the ball like a first baseman's glove.
Tom Hallian, the first base umpire, coming in to check to make sure Jerry Davis is all right. Had a sting.
Hallian was getting give that ball a little bit better effort. Just off the edge of that glove.
Ball in for the strike. 3 balls and 1 strike to Elster. Jefferies getting off to a slow start, but hopefully this double could get him untracked as Elster takes call strike 2, 3, and 2. Mackey Sasser is swinging a bat in the on-deck circle, and he will be batting for Frank Viola if Elster can get aboard. John Franco in any event will be coming in to pitch the 9th. The Mets try to put an end to their 3-game losing streak and end the 3-game winning streak of the Expos as Elster draws his 2nd walk of the game. Last inning, both Mets who walked came around to score.
Nothing more irritating to a manager and a pitching coach than to see what Montreal's pitching staff is going through. Led the National League last year in earned run average, and their starters were the most effective, but here they simply cannot get the ball over the plate in key situations.
Mackey Sasser is batting for Frank Viola. He is hitless in 6 trips this season. He made his first start behind the plate, and of course his problem, well known by many people following baseball, is inability to throw the ball back to the pitcher. Fouls it back for a strike.
Yeah, and for those not familiar with it, you go back to the days of old Clint Courtney and then Johnny Edwards with Cincinnati. Catcher, it's a mental block, obviously, but catchers have that problem on occasion of just throwing the ball back to the pitcher because you aim the ball and you don't throw it. Sasser's gone through a number of different training exercises with Coach Doc Edwards, and he appeared to have it licked last night.
Sasser lines a base hit down the right field line. Elster will go to third base. The ball is bobbled by Riesgo as he gets his first chance in the field, and coming all the way right in to score out at home plate. The tag was put on Elster before he put his hand on the plate. So Riesgo gets it into Spike Owen, who fires to Reyes, and Elster is out at home.
Well, it's going to be a play of who makes the last mistake, and Reyes makes up for the Expos mistake by blocking the plate.
So it's 3-1 Mets, and we go to the bottom of the 9th. 33 saves last season to lead the National League. Is now on, replacing Frank Viola, who pitched 8 innings, gave up 1 run on 9 hits, struck out 6 and didn't walk a batter, and strike 1 to Tim Wallach. Dave Magadan replaces Tim Tuffle at first base after Magadan pinch hit for Tim. Wallach today is 1 for 3 with a base hit, and he scored the Expo run in the 7th inning.
Franco, unlike a lot of short relievers these days, Dennis Eckersley, some of them will work from the set position even with nobody on base. John uses the full windup.
Swing and a miss, and a ball and 2 strikes. Franco, the first Met pitcher to lead the National League in saves. Has 2 already this year and needs 17 for 200 saves in a career, and only Bruce Sutter, Lee Smith, and Dave Smith have managed that in the National League. The bat goes flying, and Wallach strikes out for out number 1.
Well, Tim Wallach says, I'll try that again. Last time I threw the bat at the ball, I got a base hit, and it's the same pitch. It's that frustrating changeup. Watch how far out in front Wallach is. That's the only thing he can do.
One out to Andres Galarraga, who is 1 for 3 with a single. Strike 1. Expos have had their opportunities. They had back-to-back hits in the 5th, 6th innings. They had 3 hits in the 7th inning and a single in the 8th, and have managed just 1 run.
Imagine the scouts are out combing the bushes trying to find guys that can rear back and throw the ball hard. And who's the guys that are effective today? Franco and Viola, depending on that off-speed change of pace.
There's a blazing fastball. Galarraga misses, and the count is 0-2. But Larry Bernard feels the same way. Changes of speeds is the key to pitching in his book.
Yeah, that makes your mediocre fastball look just a level faster. There's the bear.
There you go. Changes of speeds, and Galarraga gets fooled, and 2 out, 2 strikeouts here in the 9th.
Now you can have everybody's into the radar gun these days, but say your average fastball is 86 miles an hour to a hitter. When a pitcher has an outstanding changeup, it makes that fastball look a little quicker, and that's what they're always on guard for. They hate to have the fastball thrown past them.
2 down to Nikco Riesgo. They appeal, and it is a strike to Riesgo, who tries to bunt. He's 1 for 3 with a single in his first major league start. Pitch is low. Franco has thrown 9 pitches. 7 of them have been for strikes. That's the job of the closer.
To adjust those hose right there. Yeah, you will find very few. Actually, you won't find any successful short relievers that don't come in and throw strikes consistently. They'll have a rare day where they don't. Most of the time, the guys like Franco and Big Ben and Eckersley, they're strike 1, strike 2.
Well, we're getting a good look today at what the Mets are all about this year, I think. They've got great starting pitching, an effective closer, and they hunt and peck for runs, and they've been managing to do that. The long ball may be a thing of the past.
When they get Brooks and Johnson healthy, then they'll get a little more run production.
Breaks inside. The count is 2-1 on Riesgo.
Yeah, starting pitching does not guarantee you're going to win. Montreal and Seattle are 2 franchises that examples of that, but not having it will guarantee you won't win.
2 balls and a strike. Now it's 3-1 to Riesgo. The White Sox and the Tigers are 1-1 in the 8th inning at the new Comiskey Park, and as soon as this game is over, we'll be joining that game. Far cry from the opening day 16-0 shellacking that the Tigers put on the White Sox. Swing and a miss, strike 2, and the count is full. Expos trying to get back to 500. Came in at 5 and 6. They'll have to wait for that for another day. But Riesgo draws a walk, so who knows? A 2-out walk to Riesgo, and that will bring the tying run to the plate with 2 down. Gilberto Reyes, who has a single in 3 trips. Olympics, and he hits it in the air to short left field. This should do it. Coming in, the left fielder McReynolds makes the catch, and the ball game is over. And the New York Mets have ended a 3-game losing streak. And Frank Viola and John Franco combined to beat the Montreal EXPOS by a score of 3-1. 3 runs, 6 hits, and no errors. Montreal won 9-1. Viola, the winning pitcher, is now 2-0 as Franco picks up his 3rd save of the year, and Chris Nabholz pitched pretty well in relief and as a starter for the Expos in a losing cause, is now 0-2, Jim.
Yeah, really the Expos just guilty of some fundamental mistakes, if you could call base on balls in that category. The pitchers were wild, the walks cost them, and in a couple of tosses to the wrong base, Mets deserve the win with their good starting pitching.
And today's most valuable player is Frank Viola of the Mets, and Chevrolet will donate $1,000 in the player's behalf to the Special Olympics. So the Mets get pitching all the way around and win it 3-1. Gregg Jefferies with a 2-run double in the 8th inning breaks a 1-1 tie. So here at Olympic Stadium, for Jim Kaat, this is Dick Stockton saying so long, and right now we're going to send you out to Comiskey Park in Chicago for the White Sox and the Tigers, and right now let's send you out to Jack Buck and Tim McCarver.